there to breed, right? Let's just say hypothetically I sent him over there on a contract breeding. Anything that these kids inherit is going to come back to us.
It's been an interesting week watching people react to the allegations that originated from Tasha K that Japan is looking for black men specifically for procreation purposes. She said things like,
Japan is calling specifically for black men. I know you are saying why, Tasha. They say they need babies and black men tend to make a lot of them.
And
they ain't even paying no money to do it. They're just saying, please, black men, immigrants, please come have babies without women.
As a person who will have spent half of my life in this country, Japan, by the end of this decade, I can say unequivocally that the Japanese would never single out a single ethnic group of people in a country, much less a country that's an ally, to come to their country specifically. And I don't think there's any country that would implore people to come to their country specifically to make children. I don't think that's rational. So I was hoping that most people that saw what she was saying saw it for the joke that it was.
What are you going to guarantee us if we send our men over there to help save you? After everything they put us through, everything. Y'all trying to take these men out. Now you need them to repopulate the earth?
However, in the time that we're in now, Japan is accepting foreigners, immigrants, at a pace that is unprecedented. And the way that they would introduce the gateway to more people coming to their country looks like this.
Japanese officials say they are working on ways to attracting more investment and IT workers from abroad to sustain the country's economic growth. The government has come up with plans to encourage foreign businesses to set up factories and other operations in Japan. It has already set a goal of doubling foreign direct investment by 2030 compared with 2022. The target is 100 trillion yen, or nearly $640 billion.
Contrary to what I believe was Tasha K's sarcastic commentary, what Japan's actually looking for are skilled professionals in skills like construction, engineering, and internet technology that are willing to come to Japan, and they're even willing to bridge the gap because they understand how difficult the language of Japanese is, to the point where they're actually doing things that they've never done before.
The officials want to make paperwork straightforward and in English so that businesses can more easily establish companies in Japan. As for foreign workers, the officials first want to revamp the government's rules on the status of residence of foreign workers. That's so IT graduates from top universities in India, Southeast Asia, and other places would want to live and work in Japan.
After South Korea proposed last week $75,000 per baby that a family has.
As you can see here, it is not the Korean government that's offering $75,000 per child, nor is the Japanese government offering $75,000 per. As a matter of fact, I don't think either of those governments can afford that much. Per CNN, in this article, a South Korean firm is offering its workers $75,000 each time they have a baby. A South Korean company is ready to pay millions of dollars to help fix the country's abysmally low birth rate. Booyoung Group, a construction firm based in Seoul, plans to pay employees 100 million won, $75,000 each time they have a baby. It will also pay a total of 7 billion Korean won, 5.25 million in cash to employees who have had 70 babies since 2021. As we can see here, it is not a plan for all of Korea. This is a bonus for a company of about 70 babies.
Japan is in desperate need, okay? And they are calling all black men, specifically immigrants, to come and impregnate their women so that they can save their dying population.
If you're an English-speaking foreigner looking for accurate news about Japan, and in this particular case, immigration news about Japan, I would suggest 3 sources to check your news stories against. There's Nikkei Asia, there's the New York Times partner in the Japan Times, and of course there's the National News Service, which is NHK News.
Now I'm going to have black men come breed with them, but they're going to get benefits. They're going to get lifetime protection from any type of child support if they decide to leave and don't want to stay in these here countries.
One habit that I would recommend for guys planning to live overseas is to get into the habit of reading, or better yet, watching the national news on a daily basis. Not only will it help you get into the cycle of how the news is presented and what's happening in the country you're about to go to, but it also gives you a feel for what's trending in the country and when new opportunities might be presenting themselves. It goes without saying that following the news will be integral to your experience or your looming experience in the country you're about to go to. It's not as sexy as all of the women in the country want black men to have babies with. It's not that, but there have been two really big stories that have happened in Japan in the last month or so. The first story is Japan is loosening residency rules for foreign entrepreneurs. If you have a certain amount of money to invest and you apply as someone trying to start a business, they're actually opening up lanes for people that want to do so, on top of what I mentioned earlier in IT. But there's a bigger story that has been brewing for 10 years.
They're going to be set for life, which means anything that these kids bring, it is going to come back directly to the black family.
I'm sad because I can't be with you.
A video for her children stolen by their father.
Nana and Grandpa are getting older.
Australian mum Catherine Henderson has few mementos of her daughter and son.
I hope the kids will remember reading these books together.
Taken by her husband 4 years ago.
Sometimes I get a panic attack when I see parents and children interacting normally.
One of the scariest propositions for those that would like to settle down in Japan and start a family is what might happen in the event of a divorce. And as a guy, if you marry a Japanese national woman, she's probably going to get custody of the children unless you exhibit some sort of financial ability that's far above hers. And in most cases, if she chooses to get remarried, those children will take on the name of her new husband, and they will no longer have your last name.
Japan's laws have come under increased criticism in recent years. Sole custody is usually granted to the parent who last took care of the child. Advocates say it ensures stability. Critics argue it incentivises abduction.
I think judges and lawyers and everybody involved just wants the easy answer. So basically, one parent takes the children.
It's been 5 years since Randy Kavanagh lost access to his daughter Anna.
A living nightmare. Not only for myself, but I can also imagine for Anna, what she's been put through.
15 Australian parents are currently separated from 22 children in Japan. A leaked submission shows Australia has recommended Japan implement joint custody when it's safe to do so.
This is an article from Nikkei Asia from May 17, 2024, which is last week. Japan passes law allowing joint child custody for divorced parents, a law that has been a long time coming. Japan's parliament passed a landmark amendment to the country's civil code on Friday, allowing divorced parents the option of shared custody over their children. The bill's passage overturns an existing law permitting only sole custody by one parent. The amendment reflects shifting attitudes toward gender and family in Japan, where women remain the primary caregivers in most households. Under the amended law, divorced parents will be allowed to choose between joint or sole legal guardianship of their children. If the couple cannot come to an agreement, or in cases of domestic issues or whatnot, a family court will intervene and rule in the best interest of the child. The next time you hear someone speaking of a foreign country sounding like
Japan is calling specifically for black men,
it might be a good idea to question their motives. But that aside, I cannot explain to you how big a deal this is. This is a huge deal for people that are in marriages and they're on the rocks. Because previously that meant you had to contemplate, am I going to try and force this to work, or am I just going to say goodbye to my kids? And what has happened now is they've allowed a new avenue for men that love their kids but fall at odds with their Japanese spouse to still see their children. And you can have the weight of the law behind you to make sure you can still see your children after divorce. And that happened last Friday. That's the news about Japan that guys that want to come to Japan should be paying attention to, because this really is a really big deal for guys coming here. Hopefully you won't have to face divorce, but if you do, the news that's happening in Japan is life-changing. And that even goes for black men. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.